I love you guys.
Dance off, bro. I have the high ground.
Expecto Patronum!
39 days, 20 people, 1 survivor. Tribe of Nerds.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tribe of Nerds. Matt, Michael, and I are here once again to talk to another player from Australian Survivor, Titans versus Rebels. And with us, we have Garrick. Welcome, Garrick, to the Tribe of Nerds.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. So I guess to get it started, when did you start watching Survivor, and how did you get on the show?
Okay, so a long time ago, I found myself in Los Angeles, and that's where I first discovered Survivor. So I started watching it way back. I became a real fan when I came across some episodes that had Evil Russell
Hantz, yeah.
Hantz. Yeah, and since then I was just addicted. Like always loved the show, and a little bit in the back of my mind was one day I'm going to go on this. So yeah, probably just a few years before COVID would have been the first time I applied. Didn't have any luck. Didn't have any luck at all. Just got the generic email to say thanks for applying, but not this time. And then after the last few years, I started watching again, and then with the most recent season, one prior to mine, I thought, yep, I'm really going to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Did a simple interview, and I was fortunate enough to get on.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like I feel like that's with a lot of people that they got into it through the season before yours, Heroes versus Villains. I think people just got fascinated by George
Yeah.
a lot. So
yeah, he was something else. Well, he did 2 in a row. See, so I think it was 2 in a row anyway. But the first one was during COVID, so he was in the Australian outback.
Right.
And look, I liked the show, but I wasn't 100% fan of that episode. But then the following one that George did, that's when I went, I'm applying.
Yeah.
Well, we're very glad you did. So you get one of the first confessionals of the season. How do you think being a loss prevention officer was going to help you out there on the island?
Look, I'm pretty good at spotting the bullshit. So I thought it was going to help me out a lot, and it turns out that it did. Unfortunately, I couldn't relay what I was seeing at times to others.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it really did help me out a lot, seeing who I could quickly align with and who I would just completely steer clear of.
Okay. Well, so speaking of that, going off just of what you see, we talked to Feras, and I asked him this same question. Did you have any initial thoughts or nicknames for anybody you saw during pre-Ponderosa before the game actually started?
Look, I didn't have any nicknames. There was a couple that really I just looked at and went, this person's crazy. I'm not going to try and stay away from them. And then the other ones I thought, look, this looks like a strong, smart player who I will slowly try to align myself with. But then, look, once you're there and then you have those brief conversations with people is where you get to know a lot more about your own intuition of who you will try to hook up with and whatnot, you know. So on the first few days, I had already made up my mind who I didn't want to align with.
Mm-hmm.
And then the progression of finding who I did want to align with was a slower progress whilst I really evaluated who was a decent kind of person.
Yeah. So you get in the game, you get marooned, and you're on the Rebels tribe. So what were the early dynamics like on the Rebels?
the early dynamics was crazy. Like there was some people there was 4 in particular that bonded so quickly, and they just sort of isolated themselves from the rest of the tribe. They were still part of the tribe and still contributed in challenges and the cookings and all of that kind of thing, but they were definitely kept themselves isolated that way, that there was this 4 tight group. So from the very beginning, I thought, oh, this is something that I'm not part of, so it would be interesting to try to break them up. So I think there was a few others, myself, Raymond and Feras, seen the same thing. So in our minds was straight away, we need to break these ones up if we want to have our own larger alliance.
Right. And that was the Cuddle Crew, right?
Yeah. The Cuddle Crew, which were, look, they're all nice guys and girls, but I think they just wanted separation too quickly, and look, that's never going to work, right?
Right.
So the Peter blindside happens, and you immediately clock that Kirby didn't vote with your group, which leads to quite an emotional heart-to-heart between you in the shelter. So Ken, what was your relationship like with Kirby up to that point and then after?
Well, myself and Kirby, we aligned very quickly, like on the boat ride over. And I thought, here's someone I can really work with. And I believe Kirby thought the same. So we did have a strong bond. And when it came to the blind side, well, everyone was on board, including Kirby. So when the vote came through, and I knew I can count, and I just went, "Whoa, there's somebody who's not come through." And just from the body language, I knew it was Kirby. That's why I approached her in the shelter and said to her, "Kirby, I can count. I know that was you." So from there, straight away, I was almost disappointed with my own view of being able to spot that rat kind of thing that I always talked of. And so from there on, I was on a backseat of how I would be aligned from Kirby from moving forward from there.
Okay. Circling back just a little bit, the reason that you guys go to tribal is because the Cuddle Crew throws the challenge, and you also immediately clock that. So at what point did you realize that, and like what were your thoughts? Because Feras during our deep dive was very vocal about how he felt. Yeah,
well, look, I could see myself in that challenge where it was being thrown, struggling, and others that weren't, and look, that I just didn't understand. I didn't understand that early in the game why that would go about. You're risking not only just the injury of someone who doesn't know that you're throwing it. I could have hurt myself. Feras could have hurt himself, but also the deception, and that didn't make sense. So yeah, that was detriment to the whole tribe. Whereas it really put a split between the ones that had gone for this throw of the challenge, for people like me and Feras who weren't made privy of the plan. So once we realised that, we thought to ourselves, no, this doesn't even make sense, for one, and two, they don't have our back. So yeah, from there was the plan to bust it up even more so.
Mm-hmm. Don't blame you.
Yeah, probably better not to throw a challenge if you're not sure you've got the numbers.
Yeah.
totally crazy. Like there was some crazy moves very early on which I didn't understand. These moves made before there was actually a really tight bond, and I think it was more just to I don't know, make the show great. To look what I can do. Look at it. Too early on. You don't need to be making moves that early on, especially crazy moves like, getting Peter off was a brilliant move. Peter had idols that she never played, so that's a move that could be respected and looked upon later on as that's a good move. They got rid of her, but to throw a challenge that early on in the piece and upset others in the tribe, it really doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And speaking of fun personalities, what was it like to work with Kelli?
I knew that was going to come up. Look, from the word go, I couldn't click with that person. Before I could even speak prior to meeting her, I seen that person on the plane and thought to myself, oh my God, this person's an absolute lunatic, and I guarantee you is going to be on my tribe. And yeah, it would look. So many aspects of that person's personality I would not gel with on a day-to-day basis, yet alone being stuck, isolated, marooned on an island. And it absolutely drove me crazy. I tried to distance myself at times from her. I think Alex was the one who really engaged more so to his own detriment. But yeah, I tried to distance myself from Kelli's craziness from the word go.
Was it as constant as it seemed on TV?
It was way worse than what you see on TV. It was every minute of every day. Everyone would camp down. Okay, say even late, and when I say late, when you're marooned on an island and there is no light and the fire's gone out, late can be 8 p.m. So everyone thinks, okay, well let's get some sleep, let's get some rest. There might be a challenge tomorrow. Midnight, she's still chatting away to herself in the corner. Like it's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, but some of my favorite moments of the season are you and Kelli, especially the spelling bee challenge. Well, I can spell. We can all spell, Kelli.
Do you know that was on every challenge? She would come up with something. Like on walking across the bridge, I have the lowest center of gravity, and then not be able to walk across the bridge, or tell people that she was a rock climber, and then get halfway up the net and go, "Help me, help me!" It's lots of this crazy stuff. Like thinking that she's 6 foot tall and full of muscle is just nuts. Believe it or not, this person is a psychologist. God help any of her patients.
So unfortunately, we don't get to see a lot of your game in the edit. So what was your strategy like during that time on Rebels Beach?
Look, my strategy from the word go was to be somewhat covert, and to try to keep a bit of a backward step until I got to a place where I could actually play a little harder. Unfortunately, I think I may have made the wrong plan there. My idea was that I often see a lot of the older ones get picked off. Jerry was one who just completely sat quietly in season prior to my one and got a long way. I didn't want to play that way because it didn't come off that he'd done anything other than just just be someone's hand puppet. But and then in the edit, it seems that I'm sort of doing the same thing with Feras. But if you ask Feras, he'll say that it wasn't like that. But I just did want to sit a little bit quieter and prove myself more so around the camp, building the shelter, doing the coconuts, showing a bit of muscle and some nous intelligence-wise, which worked for me with people that did see what was going on. But unfortunately, I probably made the wrong move when I went against Kirby too quickly.
She's a tricky one, Kirby.
She's a bloody good player for sure, and
right.
she's very good at manipulation's probably not the right word, but very good at bringing people across to thinking the way that she thinks, or having them move in the way that she would portray them to get the actions done. She was good at that, yeah.
Well, that leads perfectly into my next questions. So the swap happens, and then the Rebels have the majority on the new Titans. Were you ever going to be OG Rebel Strong, or what was the reason that you decided to target Kirby at the first chance you got?
Just because I knew that she was already going to go with the Titans that had there, and then if she look, Kirby for one, I had put myself out there, so I know that she wasn't going to realign with me no matter what happened. Her biggest competitor would have been Feras, so she wasn't going to align with him. Knowing that Feras was buddies with Raymond, that was out. So she had the option of going with the three Titans and her go-to girl Rihanna. So they would have had way more numbers than us anyway, and then would have just picked us off one at a time. So I thought to myself, listen, if we can get rid of Kirby here, then we'd be back strong again. At that particular time, I hadn't totally realised that Scotty had flipped, because Scotty was giving us a completely different story, that he was with Aileen, and Aileen was quietly aligning herself with us. So, yeah, look, games can flip like that. If we would have actually got Kirby out, it would have been a completely different ball game, because then we would have had the numbers. But as it turns out, it worked beneficially for Feras anyway, so not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to think about like what the season would have been like had you guys gotten your way at that vote. So you said that you didn't want to know what happened on the show after you were voted out. What was it like to watch the season both as a player and then as a fan?
Yeah, well, always being a fan, that was why I thought, you know what, I just want to watch this as I would normally watch it, distance myself from the full knowledge of knowing it. There would have been a different way to watch the game. So yeah, I knew what had happened in my tribe up until I got voted off. I didn't know what had happened in the Titans on the Titans beach all the way up until I got voted off. So watching that part was quite interesting. And then that the show's aired after we come back. So there was some people that I'd talked to, and I said, no, I don't want to know. I would prefer to watch it the same way, fresh, that I'd watched what happened with the Titans. And I prefer it that way. I think it was great. A very, very interesting show, actually.
Absolutely. It's way more fun to watch the show, I feel like, not knowing what happened after you've been voted out. So
yeah, totally.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, totally. You do get the best of both worlds. Look, I did have a fair idea of what had happened. I didn't know strategies. I didn't know what had happened in challenges, and I didn't 100% know who had won it. Like there was some feedback going around from two different people who thought they'd won it. So I didn't know 100%. And obviously when I said to them, I don't want to know, they said, well, when we don't want to tell you.
So we get to your vote out, and it's a crazy tribal council where you sense that things are going off, and you ask Feras to play the idol for you. So kind of talk us through going into that tribal council and how you introduced that, and I mean how different the game is if he actually does that for you.
Yeah, look, it was crazy. That afternoon when we got back, just losing the challenge, I had already thought, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. I'd seen a few dynamics happen during the day before going to the challenge. Once we lost the challenge, we got back onto the beach, and we had a few talks. We got around the fire, and Aileen really stepped forward and said, look, we're going to stick together and vote those guys out. I knew from the actions that the way Kirby had said, oh, Feras doesn't want to put down his gun and all that kind of stuff, I knew that she wasn't going to come across with us. That was the first thing. Second thing, I know that Kirby knew Feras had an idol. So there I'm starting to think, oh, she's going to take out the next in line. Feras and Rebel really didn't believe that. They thought that they had, Winner especially had completely bamboozled Feras. He would completely told Feras, I'm 100% on your side, and Feras believed it. I'd taken out Winner on a couple of challenges, which you don't see in the edit, and so I knew Winner wasn't a fan of me. Like, I had a wrestling match with Winner where I annihilated him, and Yeah, it would have been great to watch that one on TV, but it wasn't on there.
Which challenge was
so
that on?
there was a challenge. There was a challenge where you're tethered to 2 trophies behind you.
Yeah.
And so you have to remove both of their trophies off their mantles, and then the person that gets both their trophies off wins the challenge. So I'd sort of lured him into a false sense of security, thinking, oh no, what am I going to do here? And then once he got closer, I've just grabbed him and wrestled him and grabbed him on the ground, and he had absolutely no chance. And then he thought to himself, holy smokes, man, you're a hell of a lot stronger than I'd thought. Later on, I'd got him in a swimming challenge and annihilated him in a swimming challenge. So I knew he wasn't a fan of me. So from that, I knew that he was bamboozling Feras. Feras and Raymond, during just prior to us leaving camp to go to vote, were messing around and having some fun and running around. And I was laying in the hammock watching who was talking to who. And I knew. I went, oh no, they've. And I said to Feras, mate, we don't have the numbers. No, we do. Plus, I've got the idol. I knew it. When we got to tribal, I'm not supposed to, but I had mentioned to Feras some numbers. We don't have them, and I could see the bamboozlement in his face. Like, I think he may have just gone, oh, maybe I should have listened or looked a little bit more. And then when we did the talk at tribal with Jonathan, I could see 100% they weren't on board. And so once, just before the count, when I said to Feras, mate, I'm gone here, I'm gone. Feras later told me that if I had really said to him earlier in the day what was going on, he may have taken a bit more notice and then had more time to evaluate what was going on and probably would have played it, but he didn't give himself enough time. So, he just said, look, he apologized to me and said, I didn't realize I just hadn't taken it fully on board what was going on. So, but Aileen, she was on board. She actually said to me, Gary, you're right. And she leaned over to Feras, play it. But how different would it have been? Because if Feras would have played it, if you look at the vote and look at the numbers, the only other name that was voted was Kelli. She got 1. I think all of the others, bar the ones that went on me, of course, all of the others were for Kirby. So if Feras played the idol, my votes all would have been null and void. All of them would have went on to Kirby. Complete game changer.
Yeah,
Right.
totally different.
Exactly.
And we when we interviewed Feras, he said that if he knew the votes were going on you, he would have absolutely had no hesitation about playing it for you. So yeah, it's one of those big missed opportunities that you.
Yeah, we were really tight.
Yeah,
Feras and I were really tight, man. It's so bizarre that the way that we aligned and just became tighter and tighter day by day, tighter and tighter. And so I think if we did get past that and made it to merge, sky's the limit, and who knows where it would have went. It may have ended up have been me versus Feras.
Wouldn't that have been fun?
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
Yeah. Well, going back to the challenges, during the season, you were one of the better challenge performers, especially on the Rebels. Did you have a favorite challenge that you did? And is there a challenge either from this season or any other season that you'd want to take part in?
Oh, look, every single challenge is different, and every one of them I enjoy. The team challenges I really like. Unfortunately, obviously, I didn't get to do any solo challenges because I was eliminated before the merge. But the team challenges were great. The one that we did in my season, Titans versus Rebel, rowing out to collect the bags to come back, that was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Those kind of things I really like. It's not that I take charge, but I am pretty sporty. So when it came to even things like rowing, and I would yell, row, row, and gets everyone in alignment, and it seems to work. If you watch that one, you see I'm yelling out row, row, and everyone does, and we row way past the Titans. We kill them on that one. As far as a challenge that I would have loved to or any challenge that I love would be the final ones where you're pitted against one of the best and for an extended time. So the endurance stuff, that kind of stuff I would absolutely love to have a go at. I know how good I'd go to.
Good opportunity to test yourself. Yeah. And brilliant. That truly, that's what it is. That's more what it is. I've always been quite competitive and I've always been quite sporty, but to be able to test yourself against yourself, your mental, your physical, that's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean that final challenge, as we saw too, for Titans versus Rebels, was really brutal with the wheel.
Ferris wheel.
Yeah. Brilliant. I think that should be called that forever, won't it? The Ferris wheel.
Because if it is called that will help Ferris's legacy. And speaking of that, I just wanted to ask you if you could pick 1 to 3 words to describe your own Survivor legacy. What would those 1 to 3 words be?
Whoa, okay. That's a difficult one. Well, give me some more time. Oh, look, three words. 3 words as a legacy. I just think more to do with the age factor and not being that age. So ageless. Don't be ageless, man. Yeah. Be strong and be witty. Have a bit of fun.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like you were having a blast out there. There's another question I wanted to ask, because I've talked to a bunch of the Rebels, and they said that you always did the best coconuts. So what is your secret to the coconuts?
Well, the secret is that I absolutely love coconuts. I love them. And I've spent so much time in the South Pacific, Southeast Asia, where coconuts is a staple. So, very young, even in the days in Fiji, I learnt to chop them open with a machete. So I've just carried that forward always. And I think that will never die. I love coconuts. I'll eat them every day. So anytime anybody would say, geez, I want a coconut, I'd say, bring it over here.
Survivor was perfect for you.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And, one of my favorite things is coconuts. People will be searching for other stuff. I just go, just give me a coconut. That'll do me. I'm fine.
That's all I need. Keep your rice and beans.
Yeah.
So one question we always ask is, who would be on your Mount Rushmore of Survivor, whether it's from your season or other seasons you've seen? Best social player, best strategic player, best physical player, and one that's an all-rounder.
Oh, gee, there is so many, isn't there? There are so many. Look, if it was for previous seasons, and if I could align with Evil Russell, because he doesn't align with too many people, right? He's a very solo player. But look, I just love his character. So, someone like him, I would really take to the top. Feras, of course, if I had a chance to go with Feras, without a doubt, and that primarily becomes because I know him and because I know his character and because I played with him. So I think that's a given. And then from there, look, from any of the other seasons, there's so many. Dave, model Dave, if you could align with him. So it's just brilliant. Just a brilliant player.
Absolutely.
It's the first time we've had Russell as an answer, and he's one of the most entertaining players in all of Survivor. So absolutely. He's a whirlwind.
If you're a Survivor fan and you don't know who Russell is, I think you're full of bullshit.
Right.
He is just brilliant. Oh, look, where people get a little bit starstruck and they would love to meet this person or that person? They don't really care about any of them. I would love to meet Russell. I think he would be an awesome guy.
He's fascinating, I will say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then my favorite question to ask every Survivor is, when you close your eyes and you think back to your time on Survivor, what image do you see?
Wow. Look, that's so many different answers there. Primarily, it's like I didn't go as far as I wanted to, and I know that's a bit harsh and maybe a little sad on my own part, but truly, it took me so long to get over how I didn't succeed in doing what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on the show is bucket list number one. I wanted to be on Survivor. I'm not on there to create a social media or to benefit from this or benefit for that. My goal to go on Survivor is because I'm a mad fan and I love the show and I just wanted to have a go at it. Mm-hmm. But closing my eyes, I often think, oh, if only I did that, or if only I did this, maybe I could have got further. So I think that would be the main thing that I always think about. I wished I would have got further.
It's not always the length of the journey, but how much fun you had while you were out there, I think.
Yeah.
And would you want to play again just on that?
Oh, geez, I'd give him a left arm. I don't know. don't know how I would ever get there. But I think, look, most of the players that get a second chance made merge. So, look, I didn't make that far. So, yeah, everybody knows. Everyone knows that I would, in a heartbeat, I would pay to go back on, but I'm not sure if they'll give me another chance. Yeah, detrimental that is. It knocks me about because I would absolutely love to.
We'd love to see you back.
Yeah, same. Well, you said you would give your left arm. Which tattoo from Titans versus Rebels is on your left arm? Because I know you have a tattoo on.
Yeah. That'll be the Titan. So that's no drama. That one can go.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
Well, my last question for you, Garrick, is if people want to follow you on social media, where can they follow you?
Look, it's just under my name. On Insta, it's Garrick Wildman. It's a pretty easy one to find. Facebook's the same. They're the only two I have. I haven't posted for a while. I've been a bit lazy. I've been quite busy overseas, but in the next couple of days, I intend to post a couple. Because what I do is I just do little funny videos. They're just of my time with the boys that I ride bikes with or play golf with. Just a bit of fun. So I intend to post one. I'm going to play golf next week and ride the motorbikes on the weekend. So hopefully I'll put another one on soon.
Yeah.
Sounds like a fun time.
Yeah. That's what life's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just
right.
Everybody knows my motto is don't let the old man in, and just live more of your life, man. You just got to live life. It's gone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Garrick, for coming on. This was great. It was really fun to talk to you about your time.
Mate, anytime, truly. I'm sorry I missed the other day. I just didn't have enough time. But anytime, man, you guys are unreal. I always love doing this kind of stuff. And it brings back those memories. And yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we will see you all next time on The Tribe of Nerds.